All right, everybody, welcome back into Delmarva Sports Insider. We transition up to Delaware, where one of the best and oldest rivalries in the state took center stage.
Two schools separated by less than 5 miles, right around the corner from each other. They could walk and meet up halfway.
Nice job.
Dover and Cesar Rodney, they don't like each other, I can tell you that much. Dover still undefeated on the year, and CR looking for revenge after dropping matchup number 1 back in December. Eden Davis, though, doing his best to make it a season sweep.
Nice.
17 unanswered points to start the game from him. I think the score was 17-8, Davis versus CR from the start. Everywhere on the court, CR would climb out of the hole, though. Shaft Clark on the alley-oop to cut it to single digits. And then before half, Elijah Allen, would give the Senators an 8-point lead headed into the locker room.
All right, so second half back and forth from the get-go. Shaft Clark with a deep triple to cut it down to, well, just 3 points. Dover would go on a 10-0 run after that, but CR resilient all night. Jaden Corbett with the 3 and the foul in the fourth quarter to cut the lead to just 5. But this Senators team undefeated and staying that way for a reason. Elijah Allen with the and 1 to seal it. Dover all but locks up the Henlopen North the final 70-60.
I feel like we're gelling more, getting better as a team, come in each day, just work harder, and we get better every day. It was a very big win for us to win it, especially against our rival. There was a lot of talking going on, but we pulled it out in the end as a team.
It's a good feeling. It's a big win. It gives us this confidence now that we can just go into practice, work hard, and we can win anything. We can win the whole thing.
They really can win anything, right?
Yeah.
Dover undefeated on the year, sweeping the season series over their rival, which is always a good feeling, even if those are your only 2 wins.
Yeah, I mean, this game tonight reminded me a lot of Dover's win against Sussex Tech 2 weeks ago, about 2 Fridays from tonight. Really just let the second half kind of collapse a little bit. You know, they let this team, Sussex Tech, of course, kind of climb back into it within 5 points, within 1 possession, almost 4 or 5 point range. And then they said, okay, let's wake up, snap your fingers, and now we're back out and running. A big reason why they're undefeated. Some great guards. I know you're going to mention their play as well. So really resilient team in the second half. I like what they're doing, and now they're 15-0.
And when you think of the teams up north, you got Sanford, you got Salesian, you got all these powerhouses. But here in Dover, you have arguably the 2 best guards in the entire state, and they're only juniors. You have to recognize the youth of this team is that their 2 leaders have only really been on varsity for I think 2 years since they were freshmen, and they're just coming into their own. That's Elijah Allen and even Davis. But another point to hit on, similar to what happened with Y-High last year, going undefeated to start the year might be harder than bouncing back after losing a couple of games.
On your back, yeah.
Exactly. The pressure keeps mounting as the season goes on. So it'll be interesting to see the way Dover closes this out. They haven't really been tested except down in Sussex Tech and those late second half runs from opponents that they were able to close out. But sticking by with some more highlights, including Cesar Rodney, who looked to bounce back tonight. Drew, what do you got?
You mentioned it. CR had a chance to rebound tonight, and it doesn't get any easier for them up against another top Henlopen team in Lake Forest. Lake, the top team in the South, on the road against the Riders. Zaquan Eaton, you're going to see him in just a moment. He didn't start the game, but still making his impact felt. First 11 points of the game for CR from 3, then a step in closer from the elbow, and then in transition absorbs the contact for the N1. Riders up early. For Lake, it would be the same story as it's been all year. Kahim Kimbrough Roach would have all of their points to start the game, 6 for him, so it would be 11-6 Eaton versus Roach in the matchup. CR would lead 35-22 at the half, and second half, like trying to close the gap. Off the inbounds pass, Nakeem Scott gets it behind the arc and hits the triple. Spartans would come within 10, but CR not letting off the gas. Never trailing in the game. Jaden Corbett with the floater. Riders back in the win column, 70-57 over the Spartans. Jaron Smith looking to add another win to the resume for the Mardella Warriors in their cross-state matchup with Delmar. Warriors out early with Sincere Pinkett in transition. He dishes the pretty pass to Kyle Dickerson for 2. Delmar able to close the gap a little bit in the second quarter. Jeremiah Lumpkin-Beal sails to the rim for the N1. Warriors up 12 at the break, but the Wildcats were all the way back and get the go-ahead 3 from J.W. Warren. And then after a few lead changes, Warriors down by 1 with 15 seconds to go, but Smith is forced out of bounds, and Delmar takes over. 1.8 seconds left to go in this ball game. Last chance from Ardella, and Pickett throws up the shot, but he can't connect from the deep 3. Wildcats celebrate as they come back and take this one 62-59. And the alma mater Cape coming in at 1-6 at home, but 4-0 on the road this year. Good luck figuring that one out. They're visiting Indian River. First half, Vikings getting out and running in transition. Shakai Chandler with the fancy dish to Javon Burton, and then the Vikings feeling deep from 3. 7 first half threes. They had more three-pointers in the first 16 minutes than Indian River had field goals. The Vikings up 47-18 at the half. But out of the break, IR putting together a quick 6-0 run courtesy of Antonio Jones. 3 straight buckets to cut into the deficit, but it just wouldn't be enough to overcome Cape's double-digit lead. Chandler wide open for this game-high 17 points. Vikings score their 6th win of the year, 5th on the road, 81-46. Guys, back to you at the desk for some more of those Delaware scores.
And the other score to get to you, Bennett. They get the win against Sussex Tech in their version of the Bayside Henlopen crossover, 64-62. Skylar Johnson, he had 33 for the Ravens, but it wasn't enough. Antoine Armstrong with 29 for the Clippers.
Yeah, a close one there today.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, so before we head to the break, we got to ask, what stood out the most to you in Delaware? You had a full week of action to kind of digest and look over.
Yeah, well, putting Dover aside, already touched on them 15-0. I mean, that Mardella and Delmar game, Mardella beating Washington last week to move to 6-6. Impressive win there by Jaron Smith and the crew. Really, who would have thought? And then they come into Delmar tonight and they drop by 3. That's surprising to me, especially that turnover by Jaron Smith, with the opportunity to give Mardella, of course, the win and then push them above 500 on the year. So a bit surprised that Mardella dropped to Delmar.
And I have to go back to this Dover team. It just perplexes me so much. You have Lake Forest, the top team in the South, and Dover and CR, who are the top teams in the North. Dover blows out everybody, and CR comes in and hands Lake an unprecedented loss without Shaft Clark. So to see how far Dover is head and shoulders above their competition in Delaware really goes to show how complete this team is. And they're so young. 2 juniors leading the way in the backcourt. I really think they have something special up there in the state's capital, and they could make a run to the final weekend in Delaware.
Love it.
Yep,
Right?
That's right. And, of course, we'll be up at UD covering Dover. Fingers crossed if they're to get up there. But from sports to news, coming up, we take you to the Ocean City Art League, where they're showing a documentary about a local Ocean City landmark.
Yes, Jeff Harris with the news. You can stick around if you want. And the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center plays host to a Lone Star. Why don't we give Jeff this one, a Lone Star Rodeo? Yeehaw! How the community is keeping a traditional art form alive. That was beautiful, Jeff Harris.
Thank you.
All that and more next in news.
I'm Eden Davis from Dover High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.